it makes me feel old when I don't get invited to things like that. I'm like, why?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm not in the loop, man.
Yeah.
I'm not cool enough.
You're not cool enough. Well,
Yeah.
I think you're plenty cool. I'm just going to go ahead and start the show.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We're here.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. I'm here with Emily Armstrong of Dead Sara. How are you?
Good. Should I
Good.
put some headphones in? Is that going to be better for you? Or does it sound fine?
It sounds fine to me.
Okay,
I'm
great.
cool with it. Let me make sure everyone here is aware that you are out now with a new album, or EP. It's an EP or an album? It's a full album.
Album.
Album. Ain't
Full
it tragic?
Album. Yeah.
And you said you
Ain't
had
it
some
tragic?
shows at the Roxy, right?
Yeah. We
How'd
did.
that go?
It was a challenge that I accepted from management before we announced the tour, about doing 2 shows in one night. Never done that before, like full shows, not like an acoustic show, and then we do like a show.
Okay.
It was, and we're like, we could use the money like to help support the tour, and I was like, okay, fine. And this is something I've never done before, and I always hear about it, like, you know, just like the Tina Turner documentary that I watched, and she used to do like multiple shows a day. So I was like, I think I was just like riding high on like that documentary, and I was like, I could do it. I'm up for the challenge. And then like after, you know, like we got back from Boston, I believe, or New York, and then we had a few days off, and then we did Roxy, and I think those few days off really saved me.
Okay.
But yeah, it was really fun. Just like we were saying, like, you know, the first show was just all business, and the second one was just all party, like a
Nice.
mullet, like you were saying.
Party in the back.
That's right.
So, I mean, how was the vibe for you personally in terms of having a crowd there? It's been so long since we've been able to have shows and all that. So were you nervous? Were there extra nerves there because of the whole fear of COVID at all? Or are you feeling like everything's back to normal now?
It's strange. Like I didn't know necessarily like how I was going to feel. And like closer and closer as we got to like going on tour, I was like, oh wait, this is going to be kind of weird. Like, I don't know why it didn't hit me. I mean, I guess we're so used to going on tour. We know like how it goes. So that's just kind of like what we were thinking. But the closer and closer it got to it, and like, wait, this might be kind of weird. Like when you start reading, you know, what's going to happen for that night. And it's like mask, you know, mandate and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. And then so some of the shows, like a third of the people didn't show up, but they bought tickets, but they like got scared or something. Like there was something on the rise in that city. So it started to like really kind of settle, like to set in, you know, like we were just like, this is going to be kind of weird. But then it started just becoming normal, you know, as the shows went on. Yeah. And then
well, like you were saying, you seem to like a challenge. So this is a challenge. This is a challenge to, you know, you don't know if you show up and the show gets canceled because of some kind of weird law thing in the city, you know?
Yeah. So we were just like, you know what, we're just going to do the best that we could do. And then just kind of just hope for the best. Like that's all you could do and have fun.
Right. Absolutely. That's all you can do. I mean, what are you going to do? Sit at home and in fear about it? It's not a good thing. I've done it.
No.
I did it. You know, we had a long time. There was like a month where I was like, the world is ending. It's over.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But we're
I think
finally,
we all
you know,
felt that,
there was a good like month of time where like the supermarkets were empty. I'm like, oh, this is it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's funny here in like LA, like you're in that like supermarket and you're in line like with actors too, and you're just like, we're all in this, like we're all just human. Like it's like that moment where you're just like, oh no, we're all gonna just die. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter where you are in the world or how popular you are, we're all in this. It was that moment where I was like, oh right.
Yeah. Well, somebody told me a funny conspiracy theory the other day where I was like, I think this is a plot from Hollywood so that actors can go out in public with masks and nobody will recognize them. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah. I've seen that.
So tell me about the new album. I know this is like a kind of like a return to form, like not a return to form, but like just return to the fold. And I saw like people referring to it like a rebirth. So tell me a little bit about that.
I mean, we started doing this with producer Noah Shane, who did the first two albums. And we seemed to have a concept and an agreement that we were going to work as hard as we possibly could, you know, for this. And we got it to a place where Warner was like, okay, yeah, like you guys got something here. Like you guys are, yeah, let's do this basically. And so we started really working. We went on tour like 2020, like at the beginning of 2020, and it just ended right when COVID like really became a thing.
Okay, it's like March-ish, March, April, around there.
More like February.
February, okay.
And I feel like I had it. Like we just got off Shiprocked. And I was so sick.
You definitely got it at Shiprocked. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Yeah, you absolutely got
without
it
a doubt. Yeah. I just tell people that I had it.
Yeah.
Because it was it was ruthless. And it was everything that people started talking about later. I was like, check. So after that, we were like, we're going to go in the studio. And then we were supposed to go in the studio right after tour. And then it was like, you know, change of plans, you know.
Yeah, let's hold
scratch
on.
the record. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so it was just a little by little of just like, what are we going to do? Like we were ready to go in the studio. We didn't have the full album done though. We were just going to start it and go in with the producer. So things obviously had to change and our producer couldn't be there with us, but we were going to do like a FaceTime thing and we are just going to get everything that we wanted. You know, Warner was like, whatever you guys need to just record this on your own in your rehearsal space. So that's what we did. So we just like set up shop and I think that was a good thing because we were able to dive a lot more into songs, you know, and they started to have a deeper meaning because of everything. And we were able to stop and just look at everything, you know, and the world was seemingly stopped with everybody as well. So it was like this weird, obviously, you know, with COVID and stuff, and it just made you think a lot more. And we were like, well, we have this time to do anything in what we really, really wanted to do, accomplish, because we've talked about setting out 6 months at least to do an album with no distractions. But when it's like, that's not going to happen in this day and age. Like we're not 19 anymore where we could just do that. And so that was just a moment we were just like, we need to like, we need to do something with this and really capitalize on it. Even if the world implodes tomorrow, you know, hoping it doesn't. So that's what we got to do for many, many months. And so Sean, our drummer, just stepped up as a producer and, you know, we just kind of took the lead by the end of it, just the songs and stuff. And Warner was like, they're good enough. Just give it to us now. Let's go. And we so many deadlines that we didn't get, but you know, it worked out in the end.
That's good. I mean, at least they were supportive in that sense of like trying to help set up shop at home. And, you know,
my God,
it's a lot of people just gave up. You know what I mean? They're like, nope, full stop. We'll see what happens in a year. Like
100%.
So it's cool to keep you guys moving, but I feel that, you know, it might have turned out better, not just, you know, doing it from home. It might have turned out better just for you personally as being able to, you know, as kind of like a safe space that you're at home, you know, there's no weirdness going on. You don't have to travel to a studio and maybe there's people with masks and it's all weird. So like it might have let you put your guard down a little bit more, the fact that you're home.
Absolutely. It saved us. It was our saving grace for the, like the madness in the world. It was the one thing that we can look forward to and not go crazy. You know, and if we did feel crazy that day, put it in the music. I mean, that's where Uninspired came in. I don't know if you know that song off the album, but like it was one morning where I was just like, I am losing my mind. Like I really am. And like, I'm just so sick and tired of trying to just do what's inspiring. And I'm like, there's nothing inspiring. You know, it's just one of those days where just like, you feel like the world was just about ready to just, you know, cave in. And if it wasn't already caving in my universe, and literally the song was born right there. I was just started spitting out these words and the song was done.
So do you feel like the overall theme of the album has a lot to do with the emotional toll that all this has been taking on people?
I think it has A percentage of it. Yeah, for sure. I think, again, like we already had like what the album was going to be, you know, initially. So we had that going for us, but then, you know, pandemic help, you know, really open up and finish the songs with that tenacity, with that emotion as well, you know. So it's all like a conglomerate of feels, you know. It's a lot, you know, but they kind of fed off of each other like nicely, you know, for rock and roll. Yeah.
Now, for people that are just coming into this cold, they haven't heard you before. I mean, you guys have been around for a while, but they haven't heard you before. Would this be, would you say this is like the identifying album for you? Or would you, you know, recommend that they go listen to everything else and then get here with you? What would you say?
God, that's a good question. I mean, I think you could, I don't know.
Yeah, because there is, you know, you can go as far back as 2008 if you wanted to.
You can, yeah.
So it depends.
It really depends. It's such a funny, like the first album is a lot more raw, you know. It was like we didn't know what we were doing and never did a record before. But even stuff on the new album, I feel like there's like a little bit of like Gimme Gimme has a little bit of the first album vibe to it. So I would say start wherever. You'll find it's still us, you know, still us.
So in terms of this album, you know, you have the inspiration of the world falling apart. That's happening. And there's also, you know, the part of your brain that's like, well, we have certain time frames or whatever. But what would you say was like the main influence for you while writing this record? Like, what were you doing? Were there bands you were listening to? Were there, you know, certain shows or books? Was there anything that was kind of influencing your vibe while trying to write this music? Outside of those things.
We made a joke where it's like all we listened to was Dead Sara, because that was like day in and day out. That's all we listened to. Like when we got home, while we were driving home, we were listening to the demos and just obsessing about it. That sometimes we were just like, we need to just like listen to music. And somebody had asked Sean, was like, well, what are you listening to right now? Like, what are your reference? And he's like, we're not really listening to anything. We're just so in it. And he was like, Sean, you have to listen to other things. And so we were like, oh my gosh. And then we started like, we just went back to like certain things that we were talking about before, like production wise, like Queens of the Stone Age and like the Yayas and the Killers and stuff like that. Just like very like general great rock bands that have a great sound that we kind of strive for, you know. And it really depends on which song it is. Like the first song off the album, we were like, I want it to be like the Killers. Like I was very adamant about it. Like I want it to sound like early Killers. So it just really, it depends. And then we listened to a bunch of, you know, Killers for a bit, you know, and just like,
to kind of get in the headspace.
Yeah. And then you started kind of like, cause it's so different from what you remember. So it's very, very important. So next time we will have playlists that we listen to. Yeah.
I mean, it happens when you get so busy and caught up when you're with your work. You know, you forget to take a step back if you don't have anybody there to kind of like, hey, you need some self-care.
Yes, exactly. And I remember like the first time we took 2 days off, it was like self-care weekend. I think it's what I called it, because Sean and I looked at each other and we were like, have we ever worked this hard before in our life? And then he's like, no, we haven't. Like on an album. And I was like, I think I'm losing my mind. And so we were like, do you want to take the weekend off? And he's like, I think that'd be good. Self-care. So it was mental health weekend for us, and it helped a lot. Yeah. I got back in there.
People forget how important that is, you know. And
oh my God.
I'm so appreciative that we are in a time now where it seems that there is more attention being paid to mental health issues, and maybe that's the problem. You know, like people are finally like, oh, that's an actual thing. It's not just people making up excuses. It's like, no, there's things going on.
Right.
Yeah. And
it's a good thing to want to be like productive, but I think you're more productive when you have little little breaks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they teach you that when you grow up as a kid. You get, nap time at school. Remember in the early days, you get nap time. That's just what it is. And we don't do that as adults anymore. I mean, people nap, but it's
not in the States.
Always, not in the States. Like we have to like keep working, keep grinding. And then like, I have a hard time just staying in bed. I'll be in bed, sleep. And then like, I'll wake up at 4 a.m. like, I have stuff to do.
Just conditioned to just get back out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the dream. You live in America. Go, 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 go. and then you're in Europe, most of Europe, and they're like, oh, we take 2 hours for lunch, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's no store hours on the door. We'll be back when we're back.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I do love that. I mean, my family is from Spain, so I've spent some time there, and I enjoyed that so much. Like, I went to a record store, and the dude was closing the door. He's like, "I'll be back." I'm like, "When?" And he's like, "I don't know. Maybe in a couple hours." I'm like, "Okay, I'll be back later, I guess." But I wanted to touch on. I was watching a show during the pandemic, which is something that a lot of people did, and I watched the show Dave with Lil Dicky. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've watched the first couple episodes.
But there's an episode near the end where he goes to work, I think with Rick Rubin or something like that.
Okay.
And he realizes that like he can't write like he's working really hard on the album and it's not coming out. And when he goes to see Rick Rubin, like the whole thing was meditate and like do other things that's not sitting in the studio. Because when you're working and you're forcing it out like that, like it could stop you. So when he took a step back and like looked inward and did some self-care, then the album hit him. Like he just started pumping out songs.
Oh, I believe.
Yeah. I love that they put that on TV because that's a very important message. A lot of people don't take that into consideration.
Very, very, very much. Very. I mean, and I was just reading too, like Adele has listened to her new song, and I was just like wanted to see kind of like her thought process. Sometimes, like if it's available, when you start to see these bigger artists, it's like I like to dive into what their thought process or like their work. And she said that like anytime she was not in the studio or whatever, she just didn't think about music. She didn't do it at all. And I was like, wow. So even when you're at the top, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to. You have your own way of doing it. You know what I mean? And you're still coming out with great, I feel like there's like an effortless feel to it when you're like that too. You're not overthinking it. And so that just like, that made a lot of sense to me and it stuck with me when I read that. She's just like, yeah, I don't do music. I don't think about it. I don't write outside. You know what I mean? I'm not always doing it. I'm like, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's, I mean, not crazy. I'm not trying to put her down. I'm just saying, like,
great.
that's like, wow. Like every time I hear things like that, or I hear new albums from bands that have been around for a long time and they're still killing it, and I'm just like, man, the consistency. Like, how are you still? This is crazy. How are you still doing this?
I know.
But and it seems like with you guys, you're just expanding and the sound is a little different but in a good way and the other day even it was so I felt like it was the universe speaking, but I was in email conversations with Rick about getting you on the show, and our friend from Eagles of Death Metal posted about you. He did. Oh my God. Jesse Hughes, Mr. Hughes, posted on his personal Instagram about you, and he's like, I think it was during your show at the Roxy. He was like, oh, this is, one of my favorite artists. I think so.
That's so sick.
But yeah, he was posting about it, and I'm like, wow, what the universe is speaking right now. And but I thought you guys knew each other. That's why I was wondering. You haven't met him.
No, we love them though. Absolutely.
You guys should tour together.
I know. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we're like all we needed is him to be a fan, and then tours could happen.
Tours can happen.
We're about to go on tour with Slash.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Tell me about that. Like, I mean, how big of a fan are you of Guns N' Roses?
We haven't announced it, but we're about to go. I just saw it on somebody posted. Some promoter posted one of the shows or two of the shows. So I'm like, okay, we're talking about it already. That's okay. Right. But we're going in February, and we thought, this would be a great opportunity. I feel like they would, Slash is a fan, and I feel like his fans would love us.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good fit. That's a good fit.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be really, really fun.
How big are these shows? I mean, I imagine Slash is filling out arenas.
Not really. Arenas.
So it's a clubs, or I mean, what are we talking?
Like theaters, yeah. Like I
Theaters,
think from
okay.
yeah. Like here in LA, it's going to be the YouTube Theater, like connected to the SoFi Stadium, some shit. I don't know. Looks beautiful.
What's the biggest show you've played so far? Like, how many people would you say was the max cap you've played?
Oh gosh, I mean, we went on tour with Muse.
Oh,
so that
huge.
was arenas. That was arenas.
That's
yeah.
arenas. Okay, yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. That was really fun.
Muse is so good, and they have live sound down. They're one of the few bands I've seen live that I got upset at how good they sound, because it feels like I was listening to the record. And I'm like, how is this live?
I know.
This doesn't make sense. Really high-end production. Now, when you're playing with a band like that, do you get to take advantage of some of their sound equipment as well, I assume? No?
No. They're like, do not go past here. Do not run on the catwalk. And I'm like, I get it.
Is there so for big shows like that, is there any communication backstage with them? Are you hanging out with these people? Or not really?
Not necessarily. I mean, they'll invite us, like they're like, we're going out, and then we'll go and hang out with them after, Okay. That's really fun. And we'll see that. I mean, they literally just like drive in, like in their SUVs, Okay. And they'll like jump in and they have everything ready in the back, and then they kind of just leave. They have like their meals waiting for them after, and then they're out of there. And then they'll be like, we're going to blah blah blah, and if you guys want to come join us.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're so sweet. And then sometimes they'll watch us from the stage.
That's cool. Oh, by the way, speaking of, I did find the post here, but 1 second here, I'll show you what I was talking about.
Okay.
Mr. Jesse Hughes put the picture of you guys.
Oh my God.
And he put, Dead Sara is live and alive tonight at the Roxy, one of my favorite bands, and rightfully so. See you there. I'm telling you,
no
that
big deal.
That tour
insane.
can happen.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it was sick. I love him. He welcomed me with open arms to his house. I was just kind of like, whoa, amazing. I don't understand. So
I've only heard good things about him.
Tell me now, after this tour that's coming with Slash, what are your big goals in terms of touring or with music? What do you want to do? Because, I mean, your music videos are killer, too. They're super high production value, and they look fantastic. So, I mean, what's the goal?
I would love, we've never done like a world tour, right? And I know that's asking a lot for, and I would love for some song of this album to just blow up somewhere, like some country just take us in and we will give them everything. And I feel like it's going to happen. We've never been to Europe. We've never been to, South America. We've never been to places. We've never been to Mexico, all these places. Like, I feel like we would do well, and I feel like the fans would appreciate us. And I feel like it would just be, this give and take with love for rock and roll that we haven't yet seen. And that's what I would love to experience. Like we're a new band. I love that feeling. And just like the Slash tour, I love getting in front of people that do not know us. It is so much fun. And then of course doing our headlining tours, but like there's something about going to new territories and making new friends essentially. It's like people are going to be with you forever and people that you'll play for forever. It's such a great bonding experience. That's what you do it for, And
I don't want to, poo-poo on all the U.S. fans, but there is something about Europe and South America that just has a different level of appreciation for rock and metal and punk and all that. Like it's a different level for them. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So I really, really hope that this year we could do something. And I think that's in the talks. Like I've been talking to management about it, but they only let me in on so many things so we don't get so bummed out if something doesn't work out, Right.
Right.
So it's nice. So when they're quiet, I know it's a good thing.
It's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you, now that this album's out of the way, how much time do you think you need to now, are you planning on like a 2 or 3 year tour cycle? Like a lot of people, Mastodon bands or, they do that. They'll put out an album and then tour for 3 years. So is that the plan? And then start, somewhere at some point, start thinking about the next one?
I mean, we're already thinking about the next one,
Okay.
but we'll be on tour for a bit, I believe. Like it's going to take, at least 2 years.
Okay.
And just push it as hard as we possibly could. It's like we worked really hard for this, and Warner's helping a lot, pushing a lot of things, and so we just gotta do the dirty work,
Absolutely.
until it's just fun, and we don't have to do so much of the effort part. Like I'd like to get that. And speaking of goals, like I'd love to get to that place where we don't have to grind so hard. And it's like we've been banned so long, and I feel like we've just been grinding for a long time, and doing the hard work, doing the grassroots work too. It's not like we've blown up overnight over TikTok. It's like these are fans that we've made and will be fans forever, and that's what's so great about our fans. They're always there for us. And that's the way we would like to have happen.
Yeah. Yeah, so. I mean, it's so like you mentioned TikTok. It's so funny how certain things just blow up out of nowhere. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to get one of your songs on some funny video or something. That's how, and then it'll go viral and millions of views. You know how it goes.
Yeah, and they're getting paid more than us at a festival, and you're like,
yeah. But it's the grind is good. It builds. I'm a strong believer in that. Like I come in that martial arts disciplines, background where it's like you got to put in the work and become stronger. Otherwise, you get soft, you get comfortable, you start getting lazy, you start losing inspiration. You start it all starts draining out of you, and then you're just on your phone all day, just like it's not, you know what I mean. And you got to keep the grind going. But again, very important, self-care.
Yes.
Make sure you take some days off. Don't push yourself over the limit because, it's too much. It's too much.
Take that weekend off. Just take it off.
Take the weekend
off. Don't
off.
Put work in that weekend. Just go do something. Take your dog on a walk. Go camping.
Absolutely. Well, for everybody that's watching and listening, make sure you pick up Ain't It Tragic. Watch the videos. The videos are fantastic, really. I think you guys are killing it. There's a lot of things going on in those videos that I think people need to pay attention to artistically. And like I said, the album's fantastic. And you're going on the road with Slash starting October 29th. Is that what I'm looking at here?
Nope.
Tickets are on sale the 29th. Sorry, my bad.
February. That might have been October, like this year.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. No, we're doing. I know he's going to be on the road for a while, and I think we're only doing one leg, which is the West Coast.
February 8th to the 23rd. That's what I'm looking at.
Yep.
Yeah, West Coast, Washington, Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, California. Lots of dates, and I think you did Shiprocked, or you're doing Shiprocked again.
We're doing it again, in January.
Oh no!
Yeah. Corona, PTSD, baby. Woo!
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that in the beginning of it, but you were mentioning that you think you got it at Shiprocked. I got it near the same. I think I got it near the same time at NAMM.
Oh.
Have you been to NAMM before?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
was
exactly
it packed like sardines at the time?
Packed like sardines. And I'm an animal. I'm walking around with a flask and pouring people shots. Like, hey, what's up, man? I know you're tired here, doing your signing and shit. And so we're sharing,
just passing it,
joints,
super spreader.
Oh my god,
super spreader,
shaking everybody's hands, especially downstairs. They got from the overseas pedal makers and stuff. They're it's absolute super spreader event. And I had all the symptoms. I couldn't smell or taste, and I was like, I absolutely got it.
Definitely had it. Yeah.
But anyway, I want to thank you for your time, and everybody that's watching and listening. Follow Dead Sara. You got the blessing from Mr. Jesse Hughes himself. I think you're good. I love
that. Wow. I'm gonna get my manager. I'm gonna get on that with my manager right after this.
Yes, do it. Do you want people to follow your personal? Do you have a personal social media thing?
Yeah, Dead Sara is probably better.
Dead
and then you
Sara.
could see and all our personal stuff. So I always say Dead Sarah. Yeah.
All right,
Appreciate
follow Dead Sara. Go to the website, deadsara.com. Get the album. And thanks again for your time.
Dude, thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.
Rock and roll. Bye.
Bye.